To talk more on this matter, we are joined by our sports correspondent, Durosimi Thomas, in Addis Ababa, who has been following events closely. Duro, what is it that convinced CAF to choose Gabon as host over favourites Algeria and Ghana?
Right. The reason why the CAF Executive Committee would have been convinced to go for Gabon is because of recent events. And those events are all surrounded over the refusal of Morocco to host the Cup of Nations this year, which was eventually staged by Equatorial Guinea. So what happened? What happened there was that you have a country pulling out of hosting the Nations Cup almost in the last minute. And then came the process to find a replacement. Ghana, who have also just lost 2017 bid, were approached. But two things emerged. One, there was no appetite locally. Two, CAF was counting on a country like Ghana with their Pan-Africanist background to say, okay, Ebola or no Ebola, let's stage the Cup of Nations. Ghana turned it down. So imagine if there's Ebola in 2017, what would happen? Then for Algeria, they could not do it as well because, you know, it's the same region, and they were thinking as well that they cannot host it in the climate of Ebola. So they pull out of it. Now, CAF is looking at, okay, what is behind this? Equatorial Guinea accepted because of a political will behind the president who said, okay, bring it here, we're going to host it. And there were no events, you know, nothing to report about. So they're looking at, okay, if we take the competition to Ghana or Algeria and something happens in the last minute, it is very likely that we'll have to be running around and looking for hosts. So we're going to give it to Gabon, where there is a powerful political will that could boost from now on the process of building the infrastructure, not necessarily from scratch, because they're going to use two stadiums that are already in Libreville, one that was brand new when they co-hosted with Equatorial Guinea in 2012. There is also a new one in Franceville. And they're also thinking of Port-Gentil. Now, all these places, and Oyeme, all these towns, they already have some small stadia, which they're going to just kind of like renovate. And they're going to try and do that. But the enthusiasm that they are showing behind this political will, even though there are political tensions in Gabon itself, you know, that people might not be interested because of the economic hardships, they are now seeing it as an opportunity. So most of the feedback from Gabon is that they want the Cup of Nations now, and they will use this to create jobs. And most people are using this that it will boost their business because people will come.
What will be Algeria and North African reaction?
If there is any country that wants to host the Nations Cup right now, that country is Algeria. In all fairness, they're actually the favorites. They have everything. But again, the sequence of events have gone against them. First of all, even their own FA president fell out with Issa Hayatou. We don't know why. But again, what happened was when Morocco did not get or refused to host the Nations Cup, they went to the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Then came Tunisia's issue during the referee issue during the Nations Cup quarterfinal. Tunisia also ran to the Court of Arbitration for Sports. So a lot of issues around that region had ended up in the Court of Arbitration for Sports. And CAF is saying, hang on a minute, maybe we have to start, you know, getting people back on track. And they could also be thinking that, well, this could be one way. And the North Africans as well, in their way to fight back, they are also thinking maybe they also need to unite. And one of the things that we were talking about in the corridors in North Africa was to actually pull out completely from CAF and also form their own kind of body, which they already have. But I think they squashed that. Even Morocco were murmuring that, okay, let's go and join UEFA. But that would be, you know, it's going to be difficult to see how that will be realized. So yes, so there's all this fight back going on. But I think at the end of the day, I see a point, because even the Moroccans were in Cairo to kind of talk and make up with CAF. So I think this is the road that most of them will eventually choose, which will make the bidding process for who will host in 2025 very, very interesting.
Finally, do you feel Gabon can pull it off?
I think they'll pull it off. I've been to Gabon. I've seen the two stadiums in Libreville. The one in Libreville is quite large as well, like the brand new one that they built for 2012. Transportation between cities, I think they will need to work on. Hotels in Libreville are okay, but then they will have to look for accommodation sufficiently starting now for the rest of the other cities. But it's also expensive. It's also an expensive place. So I think they will do it. Why? Because over the years, what we've seen that makes a good Nations Cup, no matter what anybody says, it's not the opulence. The opulence has nothing to do with a good African Cup of Nations. I'm not talking about UEFA or what happens in South America, but in Africa, what made the most successful Nations Cup, which so far those who have attended those were in Mali and in Burkina Faso. This was in 2002 in Mali and Burkina Faso in 1998. Why? Because of the warmth of the people. So most people forget about the accommodation crisis they had in Burkina. Most people forget about the way they struggled to move transportation between Bamako and Mopti, which is really very far in the north. So I think the Gabonese, they have that warmth to make a very good Cup of Nations.
Durosimi, thank you for speaking to Sports News Africa.